Hi there YouTubers and 3D Studio Max lovers, welcome to my 3D corner. As you probably know, I'm living in Europe and these days in Europe is very warm, and I thought, hey, why not to talk about a snowy render. So in this way we can also cool down for a little bit and waiting for better weather. Even though I'm always waiting for the warm weather, when the hot weather is here, I need some cold weather. Okay, so in today's video I'm going to show you how to transform a render like this. As you can see, this render was made a long time ago by me. It was not looking very nice, and the client wanted a more beautiful and snowy render. So if you want to know how to make a render like this into this, then just follow me. We have many things to discuss. So if you guys are ready, let's just dive in. Okay, so as you can see, this is the render. These are all my layers in this render. I'm just gonna go down and with Alt and click on this beautiful eye, I'm just gonna open my last render. Here I have different types of renders inside. As you can see, these are all renders with different render elements coming from V-Ray. This was a render made with V-Ray a long time ago, and I just saved here different elements in case I need them, or in case I need to add more reflection or more all kind of types of things. As you can see, this is also a render only with the textures. Here you can see the quality of the textures. It's better also to have something like this, so you know you can find a way to fix small problems at any time. So let's start. So the first thing that I did was to make these buildings here on the left and the one in the back a little bit darker, because I was not very happy with the colors and they were quite bright and they were popping up. And then the next thing that I did was to change the texture and make the building a little bit smaller. As you can see here, there is a small part coming from the old render, but it's not a problem. This thing is going to be fixed in the next layers. So the next thing that I did was to take all these lights, which you see here coming from these light poles that are on the street, and try to make them a little bit more glowy. So what I did, I just saved only this part of the light, and then I applied with double click on the layer, I applied an outer glow, and I made the outer glow, as you can see, a little bit yellow orangey. And this is what I did, just to bring a little bit of light on these poles. Then afterwards I tried to bring this texture that is to multiply. I'm just gonna put it on normal so you guys can see it. Okay, so this texture, this render actually, which is an ambient occlusion render. As you can see, it has a lot of shadows, touching shadows they are called, and I just brought in this to have a little bit more details in the render. Okay, I'm just gonna put this back to multiply and make it 27, and then I had a second layer like this, which was with less shadow, and I also added this one to bring a little bit more of these shadows into the scene. These shadows are quite important. V-Ray is not making them by default, but right now you can make them by default, but back then it was a little bit less possible. And then afterwards I just brought a curve on the whole thing. I'm going to show you here, just to bring a little bit more light into the scene, because I didn't like it. It was quite dark, the overall, so I just made a curve like this, bring more light. And then I added the brightness and contrast, but I used only the contrast on this. In this way I added some contrast to the overall image. As you can see, this was the original one, and then this is the one after a couple of clicks and layers. And then after that I added a sky with an outer glow. Why is that? Is because, so actually I just made the selection with the sky, the original one, and I added an outer glow just to have a glow here in these areas, because this was something that is happening when you have a very powerful sky, so you get a glow from the sky on the buildings. Okay, then I added some curves into this to make it more or less the same as the original image, and after that I added some more glow lights to the poles. This time I also added an inner glow. Actually this light looks a little bit off, but I can just make a selection and just grab it here and move it here, and it's done. So yeah, what I did here was to add an inner glow and an outer glow. If I stop the inner glow, you see it's getting a little bit of inner glow and the outer glow, just to have more glow to the lights, because I was not happy with what I did in the first time. So I had to add more glow. Okay, and afterwards what I had to do here is called vitrine, but in reality are all these shops. And what I did, I just took pictures from the internet with different shops, and I just tried to add all of this inside here, just to make it more or less in the same perspective. But the idea was just to have something inside, because when you create this kind of renders, people don't really understand if this perspective is correct or not, or if this one is correct or not, and so on. So what's very important is to have something that is happening there, because overall the most important thing is this building, the main central building, because this is what you present. So everything else is just part of the final image, but yeah, you need to focus on the main building, and the rest can be just there and a little bit blurred. So yeah, what I did here, I just added here, as you can see, different textures that I found on the internet with different shops, and I just tried to add everything in here just to try. Some of them are, as you can see, this one is a little bit off. I just made it very transparent, 31%, because otherwise, yeah, the perspective was not matching the image. So being just there and something blurred, it doesn't really matter, because nobody's actually looking there. Here is exactly the same thing with this one. As you can see, it's just something that is blurred there. Otherwise it will be like this. But it also, you need to understand that yeah, these images and also this one is exactly the same thing. What I did here, I just put an image that I found with an interior and applied an opacity to it. Okay, so enough about these shops. I will just rename these shops, and then after that, as you can see, I just added another layer only with the facades to bring a little bit more light into this and make them, yeah, a little bit less visible. And then of course the brightness and contrast to the whole image, just to try to fix the look from the overall image to the shop. After that, I just added some footprints. All these footprints are actually from the people that I'm going to have above. Yeah, they're just in a couple of places anyway. I'm just gonna leave them for now, and because they are part of the people, so I'm just gonna add it here above the people on the street, because it should be there. Okay, I'm just gonna close all of this, the shadows. So this is our image until now. I just said that I added the bright and contrast, and then I added a color balance overall, just to make the overall look everywhere a little bit more blue. So what I did with the color balance, as you can see here, the midtones, I made them a little bit more cyan and more blue. The shadows, yeah, they can go a little bit more blue. I didn't make them here because, yeah, they are already kind of blue. And the highlights, I just left them as they were. Then here, the client wanted some wood, so I just added that in there. Okay, then I just added some curves to make it a little bit more brighter. And then afterwards I had to add some text in here for all kind of things. So text buildings. So yeah, I had to add in here the name of the street and the building with the address, and also here the numbers, so where you enter and which apartments you have in each block. And then after that I start adding the people. So as you can see, these are the people. These are all people from the internet. I didn't use any of those websites where you can get like cutout people. As you probably know, there are a lot of websites where you can get cutout people. Yeah, I'll leave a couple of them in the description. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. As you can see here, these are premium, but yeah, they have for sure also free ones, because everybody has free stuff these days. The cool part on this one is that, as I can see, you can just check them like walking, standing, sitting, so on, and you can take them directly from here. So there are many websites out there that are providing cutout people. On most of them you need to pay, but there are also a couple of them like the Skalgubar, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, which is offering everything for free. The downside of it is that yeah, there are all these beautiful European, Northern Europe people. as you can see, which probably you don't have them in your own country. So the best way is to find people from exactly the same place, or at least the same country as the project. Also, I think, in my opinion, these days is better to find your own people. So if I write here people winter, for example this one, I will just download this for free. I will override the file that I already have, and as you can see the quality is very good. I'm just gonna open this in Photoshop, and to make a cutout is very easy these days. You just need to go here with object selection tool, and you can just make a selection directly on the person. As you can see, I'm gonna double click my layer and I have the cutout. It's not perfect, of course, but we can fix it using a brush with a black color, because I'm selecting the mask. I'm just gonna make here some adjustments, also here a little bit. Yeah, you just need to find the right place. If you want to make it more professional, you can just use this. You just click OK, and yeah, you have. Anyway, you're not going to see this kind of very small details. Maybe here you're going to see something, but you can just fix it. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that it's very fast to make a selection these days for your cutouts, so it's better to take them from the city or from the place where you're making the renders. In this way you're gonna have a good cutout and also the right people in the right place. At the end you can just apply the mask directly to the layer, apply layer to mask, and now we have the cutout. As you can see, I can just Ctrl A, Ctrl C, and then go to my file and just merge here my person. So this is it. Oh, this is my person. I'm just gonna make it smaller with the Alt, with the V selected. I will just move it wherever I need it. And yes, I have the person there. Okay, so the next thing that I'm always doing now, because I have the person, as you can see, my overall image is kind of blue. So I need to apply something similar to my person. So what I'm going to do, I'm not gonna show you how I did all these people, but I'm gonna show you this girl. So I'm gonna go to this girl, above apply a layer, which is a color balance, with the Alt and click here. The layer, the color balance, the new layer that I made is going to be applied only to the girl. So now I'm going here to the color balance, to the mid tones, and I'm just gonna try to make her a little bit more blue. I'm going also to the shadows and apply a little bit more blue, but not too much, a little bit. And now it's almost from there. And what I'm doing next is to apply another layer. And this layer is gonna be also above and connected to the main girl, the layer that I have in front. And this layer is gonna go on screen. And now I'm gonna go here and pick up one of these yellow colors. And with a brush, with a control and on the layer, I'm gonna make a selection, because I just wanna paint this yellow color only inside of my cutout. And now, because now I can see the girl is between these three lights here. So I'm just gonna try to apply some light in the front and a little bit in the back, so more in the front and side. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go here, and as you can see, I'm applying some color. In here, a little bit in the back. Okay, I'll just leave it like this for now. Actually, I should be not on the screen, but I should be on the overlay. Maybe hard light, let's see, it's looking better. Let me go back to soft overlay, yeah. Okay, and now she has some light on her coming from this light. And what I need to do next, I'm just gonna take this layer and make with the Alt and left click a selection. Now I just made a copy of it, this girl. And now I'm just gonna take this, and with the control on, I'm just gonna try to make some selection in such a way to try to create a shadow. So for the shadow, I'm just gonna double click on this and I'm gonna use a color overlay. I'm gonna try to use blue color from here, but a little bit darker. Okay, maybe this one maybe could work. And then I'm just gonna desaturate this, and I'm also gonna apply a filter blur and the Gaussian blur to this, just to make it a little bit softer. Okay, this could be fine. And then I'm gonna make another copy of it with a Ctrl T, and I'm gonna try to make another shadow going in another direction, because I have another light in here. Doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be there, because I'm just gonna make this shadow less powerful. Also the other one is quite powerful, I'll make it less visible. And then I will take this one also and try to create also here some shadow. Also make this one less visible. Okay, I made them less visible. And yeah, unfortunately she has a little bit of white coming here, but that can be fixed quite easy. Just like this. This is all coming from the selection, but it's yeah, it's totally fine for now. So yeah, this is how you add your people into your images. Also, another thing that is always working very well, you can add to original person, which is this one, a little bit of transparency. So yeah, like 96%, that's fine. So yeah, we have another person. All these people were made exactly the same. They were all cutouts from different pictures, also the snowman and so on. So this is the best way to do it, just to find people from that country or area, and or you can just go there and take some pictures from exactly that city, and you can actually have the people from there. And then afterwards, what I did, I just applied the shadows. Here, as you can see, it's just a layer with a little bit of a shadow underneath, so which is just a brush. For example, you can just take the brush here and I can just make it a little bit bigger, and with a little bit of blue-gray, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this. This is probably too powerful. I'll make less opacity in here. So yeah, now we have a little bit of shadow in there. Also under these people can be a little bit more. So yeah, this is how it's actually working. So then I just added some footprints in here, which are a couple of them here and in this area, which is not a big deal. Then I just added people in the building, it's quite important also to add some stuff in the building. In this case, I just added some people in there, but it's actually better to add furniture or stuff that it's actually, or it should be in the apartments. And then I also added some curtains in there, as you can see. This is also helping to bring a little bit more of reality into the image. And then here I have these palm trees. I just added a little bit of more palm trees in there because the client requested for that. Then what else? Yeah, on this hallway I just added some lights, some lamps, as you can see, just to make it a little bit more pretty. And now the most important part, what I did, I added a new sky in this image. So this is the sky, as you can see. The overall look, it's still dull and it doesn't have too much stuff to see. I added some brightness to this sky, only to the sky, as you can see. And then what else did I add? Yeah, I added this layer as a little bit of fog because yeah, I just wanted to have a little bit of fog in here. I will just select this one and make it so this is my fog layer. Yeah, it's just a depth map that it's inverted. I just put it on the screen and I just added some, as you can see, it's not making a huge difference, but yeah, it's enough to bring a little bit more reality. And then I added a little bit of curves, brightness and contrast, and then I added the snow. To create the snow, it's very easy. I'm just gonna make here a new layer with a black and white. You just go here to noise, add noise. Actually, you bring first a color to this. I'm just make it black, and I'll go now to noise, uniform, monochromatic. I'll just leave it like this, and now I will just go to filter gallery, and to turn edges You can add more or less depending on how much do you want to have. I will just leave less. In here I'll click OK, and the black dots that you see in here, these are my snowflakes. I will just do a Ctrl A, and with a Ctrl I, I'm just gonna invert everything, and then I will, as you can see here, it's in screen. I'm just gonna also this one on screen, and it's done. And if you want to make them, so yeah, this is my, you need to create a couple of them, and if you want to make them like they are moving, you can just go here and on the filters and use the blur and motion blur, and now you can give them, depending on the direction that you want to have, you can have them some movement. As you can see, this is also a good way to create rain. So yeah, I'm not gonna give them too much, just a little bit. It's okay. And because I created a couple of different ones with different directions, as you can see, and this is my snow, my falling snow. So what else did I did here? In the end, I added a little bit more lights to the whole scenes and to the spaces where it's illuminated inside. How I did that? I just created a new layer on the overlay, and with an opacity of 37, and then I just went here and I picked up a color on, in this case, an orangey yellow, and I just went to my windows with a brush on this layer, and I just applied that color. And as you can see, the moment that I'm doing that, I'm just getting more light in that window. See, you can also do it here. So this is what I did. I just played here a little bit with bringing some light in different windows just to make them yeah, more pretty, let's say. You can also bring to the people if you want, but as you can see, this is the original image, and then this is with more lights. This helps a lot, I think, in my opinion. Afterwards, I just added a vignette in here on the linear burn just to make it a little bit darker. You can also bring this directly from the filter, camera raw filter, but yeah, I just made a more like a custom one in here. You can actually see with the linear burn. If I go to normal, this is my my vignette that I used. So I'm just gonna go back, and then I applied some curves to all of this because yeah, my image didn't have enough shadows, so I just added a little bit more depth to everything. And then I put also some brightness and contrast. I put the brightness less, but it can still be around 0. Yeah, it depends on how much night do you want to have. Normally it should be more like this, but yeah, I just wanted to have it a little bit on the sunset somehow, or the blue hour. And then at the end I just added a little bit of levels, because as you can see, these are my levels, just to bring also a little bit more contrast to the whole image. And yeah, so the last thing that I also want to do in here is with the Ctrl-Alt-Shift-E, I will just create a final, I will merge everything in one layer, and here I will just go to camera raw filter, and here I will do a little bit of adjustments to all the colors and the lights and so on. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just gonna bring a little bit less of exposure, more contrast. Here you need to see these are highlights clipping, and these are shadow clipping. So in the moment, for example, if I'm on the exposure, and in the moment that, as you can see, I got the blue color in here, it means that I have parts in the image that are very white, so I need to stop before going there. So this should be fine. So you always need to take care of these two things when you're working with this kind of images. For example, if I go to black, see the reds got there, so it's too much. I need to stay outside. So this is the maximum that I can have. For the shadows, if the image is too dark, you can just bring it a little bit more. Now it's also a personal taste on how you want to have your images. It's good to see details in everywhere. So also in the dark areas, but also in the bright areas. So you always need to take this in consideration. What you can also bring in here, it's a little bit of texture. I'll just zoom in for you to see. So yeah, it's bringing a little bit of clarity in the whole image, and also a little bit of clarity, but not too much. And the haze, if in case you need it or not, but I think this image doesn't need it. And the vibrance, in this case, I think the overall image is a little bit too saturated, so I will just bring the vibrance a little bit to the left, but not too much, to keep a little bit of colors. And then yes, we have the curves in here in case you want to do anything. Of course, you can bring a little bit more light if the image is too dark, but in the moment that you do that, as you can see, it's becoming too bright. So I'll just leave this as it is. We can also play with the shadows, but we also use the shadows in the basic. So for now, I'll just leave everything as it is with the curves. On the details, sharpening, we can also bring some sharpening in here. As you can see, this is a little bit too much, but it can always help to have a little bit. And yeah, color noise reduction, it can help if you get a really noisy image from your render engine. Then the color mixer, here you can play with the colors. You can change any color into any color, but or you can change the saturation of the colors or the luminance, and or you can also play with all in the same time. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I would like to change the blues a little bit. As you can see, I can play with the blues and just take them out or bring a little bit more. This is quite a powerful tool. You can also change the blue color into something else. So for example, I can just change them into more of magenta, or I can just change them to more on a cyan. Yeah, it's good to have a little bit of cyan. Everybody likes it, but for now I'll just leave it as it is. Saturation, I can also bring to this my orange images. As you can see, a little bit more color if I want to. People like it, but if you exaggerate too much with these colors, it's gonna look a little bit cartoonish at the end. Then you have also color grading in here. This is also a very powerful tool. You can change the midtones colors, you can change the shadow colors or the highlights colors, but because we already have the right colors in here, yeah, it's probably better to leave everything as it is. Because my image is blue right now, so this is the blue approximately that we have. If I add the opposite of this, it's gonna become a little bit more neutral. So this is my image, so if I do this, it's looking a little bit more neutral and more balanced. Then we have the optics. Yeah, we can't use this in here, only the vignette if you want to add a little bit more of vignette, but we already did that in the layers. Then the geometry, yeah, it's everything fine, we don't need to use it. The vertical is already in here, as you can see, it's everything vertical. And yeah, the effects, you can add a little bit of grain if you want to. And then the last thing is the calibration, where you can calibrate the image look overall. So you have three colors, three primary colors, the red, the green and the blue, so the RGB. And you can just calibrate the image through these three colors. So for example, if I bring here a little bit more red, all the oranges are gonna become more orange and more yellow in this case, or more red, as you can see. But for now, I think my image is looking good. Or you can also desaturate or bring more blue into the image. For now, I think my image is looking good, and I'll just leave it as it is. So this is the image that we had before, and this is after. And what else we can bring in here is to apply a lens correction. And to this lens correction, you can add a chromatic aberration. This is something that is happening on the film. It helps to bring a little bit more of realism into the image. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of red. This means that the cyan and fringe is gonna come in. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of blue and yellow into this. It's quite a small detail, but yeah, I like it this way. So as you can see, this is the final image. I hope you guys liked it. In case you find this tutorial useful, please share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe in case you didn't do it. Hit that like button if you find this useful. And yeah, for those that want to see all these layers, how I made everything, this file is going to be on my Patreon, where I'm going to upload this file in there. So if you guys liked it, please don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.